Welcome, my friends. Okay, I guess let's sit for that guy. Yeah, even though we're trying to be serious, we can't help but crack out. Welcome, my friends.
That's not even scary. Hello.
Okay.
Hello, people.
Hi, this is Man
And Morpheus.
and welcome to a special Halloween edition of MMG. Right, what we're going to do is actually pick some stories that we've seen from the internet, from maybe films, from folklore, all that, and we're just going to try and guess where they come from. Now I'm going to start. This one is called Fatal Fair. Now this story concerns a lone taxi driver making his way along a road during the night. Legend goes that a person will suddenly appear from the night darkness and hail the taxi. The person will only ever sit in the back of the car and will ask to be taken to a place where the driver is never heard of. When the driver mentions this, he is assured that he will be given directions. The passenger then feeds the driver increasingly complex directions, which leads them down streets and alleys through many towns, and even some instances all the way from a city to the countryside. After travelling this distance, still seeming no closer to any destination, the driver becomes uneasy. He turns around to the back seat to ask the passenger where exactly they are, but is suddenly shocked to find the passenger has vanished, and the taxi driver turns back to the steering wheel only to drive off the edge of the cliff and die. So what do you think? Any ideas where this originates from?
It sounds like an American thing to me. Definitely an American thing.
You believe it's from the States?
Yes.
So what kind is it of a film? Is it a legend?
No, it won't be a film. It'll be too short to be a film.
Remember, it could be
like
something that condensed. Remember, condensing these tales, so it could sound like something. So you think it's an urban legend?
Yeah, it's definitely.
Well, 1 out of 2 ain't bad. It is an urban legend, but it's from Japan, not home.
Japan?
A Japanese urban legend.
Oh,
So not too bad, not too bad. Okay, your turn. Turn for a story. You got one for us, mate?
okay, I've got one. You're gonna have to guess if it's something someone's written, or if it's an urban legend.
Mm-hmm.
But I picked one that was different, so you might guess straight away. But it's fine. I was in my bedroom during a typical night. I'm 15 or 16 years old, digging around the depths of the internet and generally not paying attention to anything other than my monitor. It was early morning, around 2 o'clock, and everyone in my house was asleep. The room was nice and warm, despite it being dead of winter. Since we had our windows replaced last week, we had been losing heat, especially in my bedroom, but the bitter cold is now kept outside. I don't remember what I was doing. I think, in the terror that consumed me, I must have forgotten. I heard a noise at my window. Not the sound of a bug flying into it, or the shrubs brushing against it. No, this is an odd noise, a thumping sound. Something I'd never heard before. I didn't think anything of it initially. Whether that was because I genuinely believed it was nothing, I can't say, but I sat there for a moment and just listened to its distinctive rhythm. Thump, thump, thump. It only lasted 15 seconds or so, and then stopped. I shrugged, and after spending an hour or two browsing and constantly not looking towards the window, turned my computer off and fell into an uneasy but uneventful sleep. This morning, after the sun had just been up for a few hours, and the things that go bump in the night were doing whatever they do during the days, I walked into my room and spent a few minutes trying to replicate the sound I had heard. I tapped the window, bumped it with some soft objects, even locked it and unlocked it. On me. But I couldn't, for the life of me, figure out what made that sound. Nothing I did came even close. I figured it must have been a fluke event. Later that day, my dad arrived from work at the usual time and decided the house was really stuffy. So he came into my room and went to open the window. Never in my life, before that moment, I wish I was genuinely deaf. My dad forgot to unlock the window before trying to open it and then pulled it up to produce the same noise I heard last night. My window only has handles on the inside. Do you get the gist of the story? Someone was trying to open it from the outside. Oh no, someone was trying to open the window, but you can only open it from the inside. He was in the room.
Ah, interesting. Sounds
Creepy.
Sounds like an internet story.
I would say, yeah, it's an internet story.
Creepypasta.
Yeah, that's what.
Micropasta is a bit.
That
Very short
story
and
sent
sweet.
chills down my spine just when it was basically there was someone in the room with you, and they were trying to open the window, and you couldn't see them. It scares the shit out of me.
Okay. Now here's one for
Sorry,
you.
I swore. Sorry.
No way, don't worry. Like we fucking haven't sworn before. Right, I've got one for you. It's sort of new, but your face does it enough, remember. Right, anyway, I'm going to give you a 2 for 1, because this one's very short. It's been around the internet for a while, so I'm going to give you that, but I want you to try and figure out what the internet's talking about here, okay? Right. It was rumoured that a corporation installed a device in all of its electronics and products to cause them to fail soon after the warranties have expired. An illegal form of planned obsolescence. This has never been sustained, and while it is unlikely that this corporation would explicitly add expiration devices to the hardware, this has also been taken to mean that the company manufactures devices to withstand just enough to use to necessitate a new line. In other words, they're trying to make people buy the new products as this one get ruined. They'll buy new products. What do you think it is?
There's the mobile phone.
What do you think this device is? It's a device supposed to be in all kinds of products made by this corporation. It causes them to go wrong, to fail soon after the expiration date, forcing them to buy a new product as it rolls off the line.
Yeah, it sounds like a chip.
Could be. Have you ever heard of a term, the Sony timer?
No.
It was the Sony Corporation installed a device, supposed to be an electronic device, that caused this effect. But according at an annual shareholders meeting in 2007, the then president Ryoji Chubachi says that he was aware of the term Sony timer.
Right.
So is it true? Could it mean the terms of yellow light of death could be actually a timer inside the machine, causing it to go pop? Very thinking about, doesn't it?
It sounds like it could be a real thing.
Could be.
To get people to buy
New products. Could be, but they denied it. Well, here's one I prepared. The Red Room.
Good bedroom.
The story is a legend about a pop-up which appears on the victim's computer. The image simply shows a door, and a recorded voice asks, "Do you like?" Even if the pop-up is closed, it repeatedly reappear until the voice finally completes its question, "Do you like the Red Room?" Those who seen the pop-up were found dead, the walls painted red in their blood. The legend began with a flash animation of a young boy being cursed after encountering the pop-up, but gained notoriety as it was found that a schoolgirl who committed the Sebitsu slashings in 2004 had the video as a bookmark. So where do you think that came from?
That sounds like another urban legend
Yes.
to me.
Yeah.
But,
From where?
well, obviously Japan, because
Yeah, obviously Japan.
I would say the name gave it away.
Yeah, the Sabatsuo slashing sort of did it. Okay, your turn.
Okay. I'll tell you a story. And it's about... Have you ever been to a train station in the dead of night, and it's just been you're by yourself? Well, you might not want to hear this if you ever are in that situation. This story about a young man who one night was leaving school after he had classes after school, and he had to go to a train station to catch the train to get home. And this young man basically walked to the train station in the dead of night, and he heard scraping. He looked around frantically, trying to see if there was anything around. He couldn't see anything until he stood up and started to walk towards the noise, the scraping noise. He saw a young woman lying. Sorry, my voice is gone. Sorry about that. He saw a young woman lying down. It looks like she's trapped. She's trying to get up from the train tracks. He runs over to try and help her. But he sees something very disturbing when he walks over. He says her fingers are stretched into claw-like... That's funny. Into claw-like things. Into claw-like claws.
Yeah.
And she's pulling herself up. But what the boy doesn't know is when she pulls herself up, he can see the rest of her torso is missing.
Ooh.
She stumbles towards him, pulling her body towards him. The boy freaks out and then runs away. Now, is that a story someone made? Or is that... Yeah... of an legend?
Sounds like an urban legend.
Okay. And what country do you think it's from?
Again, our favourite urban legend place, Japan.
You're correct. The urban legend is called Teki Teki. So,
I heard of this urban legend as well. Normally they say that if you're approached by this girl, your best job is just to run, because she's armed with a scythe. If you stay near her, she will slice you in half.
well, it's a claw-like hands here, so...
She usually has a scythe, and she usually sometimes can float in the air.
But I think this might be a version of it, like a different version. Or maybe like just... But this is kind of like updated in 2014, so... I don't know. Don't, by the way, don't Google Teki Teki, because there's some really horrific images of that creature, and from a movie, and looks quite terrifying.
This is my third and final story. It's about a young boy who every night, to keep his night terrors away, his parents will make sure his cupboard door was closed, his door on a crack with a little light on, and he always goes to sleep perfectly safe and sound asleep. But one night he was disturbed by the sound of tapping glass. Tap tap, tap tap, tap tap. That's what it do. Anyway, the boy gets up to search for the source of the tapping. He looks at the window and sees nothing. But then he hears the tapping again. Tap tap, tap tap. Followed by a horrible whispering voice saying, little boy, please let me in. I want to play. Please let me in. But again he's looking at the window and he can't see anyone there. But he knows the voice is actually coming from something behind him. So he turns around and he sees a mirror. A small square mirror. He looks at it and sees in the reflection a horrible figure, skinny figure with skin tight flesh stretched across his face with horrible dangly teeth, a gaping big smile. Yes. But he looked like a dysfunctional sex doll there too. He noticed he had no eyes. Then he had a big, horrible, gaping grin. And he whispered still, little boy, please let me in. I want to play. In complete terror, he screams the entire house down, causing his parents to fly in to see what's going on. Of course, they see nothing and ask them what's wrong. He explains of what he saw, a horrible, skinny man with a big grin, asks them to come in. And he said, where is he? He said, in the mirror. And they looked in the mirror and said, there's nothing there. It's just a nightmare. Go to sleep. And the boy feels assured. He puts it down. It's his imagination, so he goes to sleep. Next day, no incident is again. And he's invited for a sleepover at his best friend's house. And that night, as they were falling asleep, the boy hears a familiar tapping again. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. He looks in the mirror and he sees nothing. But then he hears horrible voice. Little boy, please let me in. Please let me in. And he looks at where the sounds come from, the voice. And it's coming from the window. He looks at the window and he sees that skinny figure, larger than life, with a big grin on his face and nothing but darkness in his eyes. He screams in pure terror, little boy, causing his friend to jump up and says, "What's going on? What's going on?" And the little boy explains to his friend of the skinny figure, asking to be let in the window. His friend turns to the window and sees there's absolutely nothing there. He's angered and punches him in the arm, saying, "Stop carrying on, go to sleep." So the boy uneasily goes to sleep. The next morning, he's awoken by a cold breeze blowing into the bedroom. He turns to his friend to say, "Close the window." But his friend is nowhere to be seen. But the window, wide open. The boy raised the alarm to his parents, and his parents immediately sends the boy back home. Few weeks later, the friend is found in the woods. He's been chewed in half by some wild beast, but the boy protests that it was that man. He has taken him in the night. Of course, his best friend's parents get angry, so angry that they don't invite him to the funeral. Just tell him to stay away. A few years later, no instances. The boy is going to college. He settles into his dormitory, puts his books away, and that very night he hears a familiar noise, a tapping at glass. He looks at the window. Nothing's there. So he goes up to the glass, looks around, shrugs it off, and goes to sit down. As he's just about to sit down, he hears, little boy, please let me in. Please let me in. I want to play. Please let me in. I want to play." He quickly turns around to the window to see that skinny figure just staring at him with a great gaping grin. The boy obviously freaks out and runs out his dormitory and is confronted by his friends saying, "What's going on? And he explains about the skinny man from his childhood, how he terrorized his dreams. And of course his friends report this to a counsellor, and counsellor put it down as traumatized of the loss of his friend at a young age. A few years counselling, the boy is fine. He graduates from his college. No incidences until one night, a few more years down the road, he is married for a child of his own. One night, as he's watching TV with his son, he takes him to bed and rests. Goes downstairs to watch telly. Then a familiar sound happens. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. He knows what's coming, so he quickly gets a gun and goes to the glass. And there beholds is the tall, skinny figure of the skinny man, a gaping grin. So he quickly opens the door and rushes outside, and no one's there. He's going, looks back at the glass, no one, and he shrugs it off, thinking, oh, it's probably his imagination again. But then as he wants to sit down, he hears the tapping again. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. Followed by the horrible whisper. Not so, little boy anymore. Please let me in. Please let me in. The not so little boy anymore. The man quickly turns round and sees the horrible skinny figure again. Without hesitation, he takes out his gun and fires. The skinny figure just disappears. The lad's son hears the gunshots and comes running to his father and saying, what's going on? What's going on? He says, just stay by me. But suddenly the door flies open from the outside, and the figure walks towards them. He quickly aims the gun towards this figure. It happens to be his wife. She begs him to put the gun down, and he does. She quickly grabs their child and runs for her life. He is committed into a mental institution, and where he gets counselling, but one night he is tapping again on his cell wall. Tap, tap, tap. Tap, tap, tap. And a horrible whisper again. Not so, little boy. Please let me in. Your son was delicious. Please let me in.
That was creepy.
Where do you think this is from?
I couldn't be sure. That sounds like a British thing.
Tell you the truth, I don't know the source of the actual, like, necessarily of the source material.
So it could be a true story.
Well, I don't know the nationality, but it's actually a story by the company known as Creepypasta.
As what?
It's a creepypasta.
Oh, creepypasta, yeah.
I can't remember where they're from, but it was a good story.
Indeed. That's the last story you're going to be hearing on Madman and Morpheus Halloween special.
Yeah, because he knows his underwear has been creeped out.
We hope you enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And if you want to see more of this, then let us know. What's
Okay.
that noise? What's that noise?
Sorry, my belly is hitting the floor.
Yeah, I think there's someone at my window. Do you have anything to add, Madman?
Well, not really, but I do enjoy creepy elements in games and videos and things like that. So if any of you want to see any old classic video games with a horror element, or any modern day games are coming out with a horror element, guess us a buzz and we'll get to it.
Yeah, we will try.
What is on the cards? But we won't be doing a walkthrough of it, but we will do snapshots. Is the new Dead Island when it gets released.
Dead Island. That it hasn't got a release date, so
I know.
we never
Hopefully.
know when. You can't really tell when that's coming out.
I know. Funny debate is we never really heard much about it.
It was supposed to come out the middle of this year. So.
Unless Dying Light kicked it off and decided not to release. Hope not, because it was a good game, but they're both similar.
We will be getting Fallout 4.
Yes.
So, but we're gonna do something a bit different. We'll stream it at the same time, and then you can watch it from our streaming sessions if you're into that type of thing. We will put some up on the channel, but it will just be snippets and stuff, so won't be full.
Won't be full clean through because the game.
No,
It's
there's
absolutely
like
massive.
200 plus hours in that game, so no way. So this is me, Morpheus,
And
this
me,
is,
me, Madman.
and we're gonna say goodbye. And Madman can find me. Maybe get the camera a bit far away from his face now.
Don't worry, it's only what you can see on Skype do. They see the normal camera on me.
Yeah, I can see a lovely. Oh, it's disgusting. Oh, I can see your lovely. I can see inside your nose. All those hairs. Lovely. Yeah.
Yes. Right, anyway.
Yeah, bye bye.
Anyway, bye.
And have a happy Halloween.